Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Jamel the Creative, and today we're going to talk about something a little different. I just want to say thank you to the new subscribers who have joined. Welcome to the page. Continue to tell people about the page, and hopefully it encourages you, inspires you to ultimately stay creative. Just let somebody know. All right, so we're going to get straight into it. This is 3 ways I have personally saved money going to the studio. And just stay tuned for the third recommendation, because there is a little bit of a surprise with it. And I also have a bonus tip for those who make it to the end of the video. So, starting with number one. Before we even start number one, let me just kind of give you a little synopsis. So for the artist, this is basically for the artist, the musician, the creative who doesn't have all the resources and immediate finances to build and finance like a home studio. So you're going to have to outsource. You're going to have to go to a local studio, or just, somewhere that is close to you, close proximity, that you can still record, get your song, get your work done, because you're an artist, you're an independent artist. You got to do what you got to do. You got to hustle, you know what I mean? So got to make this thing work. And this is how we're going to make it work. So there's a term called mise en place. I believe it's a French term. And this is something that is used in culinary arts for the chef when, before they start the preparation of whatever they're making, they're required to get a mise en place. And mise en place simply means like everything in its place. So let's say I'm about to bake a cake. Well, do I have my butter? Do I have my flour? Do I have, etc.? Do I have all my ingredients before I even start doing what I'm doing? And that's something that through my culinary experience, I translated to my music experience, because I have a mise en place prior to actually going to the studio. So prior to going to the studio, my mise en place would consist of a pad, you know what I mean? Or wherever I am documenting my writing, whether it's a pad, notepad, memo on your phone, or anything like that. Make sure I have all of those things just ready to go prior to that session, because once I'm in that session, you're on the clock, you know what I mean? And time is definitely money. So next, I would say, do I have a hard drive? A hard drive is something that I just got used to just generally bringing into the studio, because yes, after a session is over, an engineer can obviously send you an email. But I just like to also have a hard copy, so I just have it on a hard drive just in case there's any other complications. It's just useful and handy to bring. It couldn't do you any harm to include a hard drive with, just basically your mise en place. And third, this is literally extremely important, and this is extremely important to the person who's like you're really starting out, you really trying to get your feet wet, you really trying to get out to the studio, you don't have that home studio, so you're just trying to make the best use of your time and maximize the most that you can get out of it. And this right here is rehearsing. You know what I mean? You can go to a studio session, right? And I know you've most likely been to a studio session if you've been in music at all at any point in capacity in your life, right? And you can see those who are either in the session and like, the engineer's like, all right, come on, like, let's do that take. And then they're in the studio and they're like, all right, come on, like, can't get my lyrics. Give me 1 second. And they have their pad, and, of course, they're trying to read off while they're in the session, or they're also trying to read off their phone. Now, I've seen people be successful with this, but I've also seen people be unsuccessful with this. And I literally just jump over the whole thing with a solution by just rehearsing. Make sure before I jump into that session, before I go to that studio, before I open that door and that clock starts for the session, I'm good and I'm solid with these songs that I have in place, because this will allow you to record more songs, and the amount of time that you have at the studio. And this will also just ensure that confidence, you know what I mean? You want to make sure that delivery, and that confidence and that approach is right for every record that you're trying to put in there. So you want to make all of that time worth it by rehearsing beforehand. It's better not to get to the studio and be scrambling with your words and trying to get everything right, the flow, trying to get that hook and trying to get that verse, and still writing lyrics in there. For the beginner and for the person who is on the budget in that beginning process, this is just a waste of time. Next, outsource to like local studios. And I mean, this is simple. But at the same time, it can be complex. Like, this is for the person that is like, oh man, I know I gotta get to a studio sometime soon. I got these songs I've been writing, these songs I've been sitting on and stuff like that. I have to get to a studio. You just want to start at somewhere that is local, or if you got like a good connect with a homie, or you got some type of recommendation to somebody who is reliable and perhaps gonna charge you a wage that would make sense and everything like that. And just to stick with local. I mean, because everybody knows of somebody who's in New York, because somebody who's in Philly, or somebody who could potentially be in LA, or something like that, who's a reputable name inside of the industry that could really, you know, be an effective, a source and outcome, or just a good look to be an affiliation or next with, or next to. But that's just thinking very extremist. Like, most studios offer the same exact services. They offer mixing, they offer mastering, tracking, vocals, you know what I mean? They just want to make sure you can lay down that record, and then there's, other little variations of things that they can provide on top of that simple package of literally just getting your voice recorded. You know what I'm saying? This can get really complex too, this whole process. So just like take advantage of social media. Like, hey, who is in so and so that knows a studio out here that is good? And perhaps check out their website and just kind of filter and vet, like see some of the artists that they've worked with, see what their sound is like. You know what I mean? There's times you could go to a studio and like majority of their clientele may be like rock artists. Well, that's not going to be effective for somebody who's doing R&B. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to be most effective for somebody who's doing like pop and other genres. So there's even studios where they may have experience with other things, but if you can find somebody who's like just hard to the core, double down on the genre that you specifically do, you're putting yourself in just a better overall situation, especially on a budget. So, and this is the last thing. Well, this is the third thing, but not the last thing. So, but this is extremely important. So don't go too low with the hourly rate for convenience if the specific studio engineer or owner doesn't really have all their stuff together. And this simply means like, all right, you're doing your budget, you got very little income, you're in high school or something like that, and you got a little part-time on the side and stuff like that. You want to make sure that you're using your money wisely so that you can invest it to yourself, which you are the greatest investment. So you're going to do something like this. Let's say there's an engineer that you know. He's like, yeah, I charge 25 an hour. 25, like, I ain't even gonna front with you that, like, that's pretty low on a spectrum. You know what I'm saying? But if that 25 an hour person, you go to that studio and like as soon as you walk in the door, they're not ready to start recording you or kind of get a general idea before jumping into what that session is going to be. They're still trying to plug up every single thing. You know what I'm saying? They don't really have like they're not ready for you. You know what I'm saying? You might be shooting too low. So it does sometimes pay you better to sometimes invest a little bit more so that you can get the right type of product. And what I mean by that is like, let's say there's a studio, they charge 25. Okay. But we seen with this person who charged 25, what they're willing to bring to the table. It's cool, it's decent, they can get the job done, but time is money and you don't want to just be sitting there wasting that time. Let's say somebody charges 75 an hour. Okay, that's like a decent median range, because there's some engineers that go up to like 150, and the numbers could continue to go up for the hourly rate that you're going to be spending time in that studio. But I'm saying for the person who's a beginning, who's starting, who's like the independent, and you're just trying to get your feet wet, get your foot in the water, start recording and everything like that, and you don't have the immediate financial means to have a home studio, go like to like the middle ground. Don't go too low to the $25 an hour studio engineer, but don't go too high because you expect somebody with a higher cost to not be able to do what somebody else could simply do. Most studios generally can do the same exact thing. And you don't want to obviously go too high because, you're just trying to be smart on how you're spending that money. Don't want to go too low because you don't want to lose the quality. You know what I'm saying? So I would say recommend definitely go between like 50, 75 range and really see what their workflow is like inside of that studio. Because if you're already prepped, like I mentioned in step one, you got your Mise situated, you got your pad, you got your hard drive, your equipment, you're all rehearsed and ready to go. You expect to walk into that session and knowing that yes, the time is on the start right now, but you're expecting it to all right, let's get to that first record. Hey, this is my idea, this is my vision for this first record. Let's get it going. You know what I mean? And start recording. And I mean, it's going to make you such a more efficient, artist as well. And you know, it's just overall important to really think this deep when it comes to the whole recording process, especially for those who have to go to like a studio. You are really, if you evaluate using these specific things, you really set yourself up for the best outcome. You know what I'm saying? So these are things that also legitimately help me too. And once you find that engineer too, continue to maintain that relationship with that person. Be professional. Be about what you're about pertaining to it. Don't be slack and don't be lazy. Continue to build on that relationship, because you never know what that could lead to, especially when it comes to the music industry. So that's that. This is a bonus tip just from me to you, that I just look. I mean, I'm just giving you how I was getting it. So this is a bonus tip. Of course, the only way that you can avoid having to do step 1, 2, 3 is just acquiring a certain amount of discipline in yourself, and like something within yourself that says like, look, I want this dream. I want these things to come about. I want to get, start putting myself out there, putting my brand out there, building my digital footprint. I got to have some discipline because I need to work so I can save myself some money. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, like, look, this is especially to the men, and they're not excluding any women. But I'm saying, especially to the men, like, look, man, work is that's just how it comes. You know what I mean? You want things to come by work. You don't want to just, here you go, because sometimes it always comes with something on the back end. So you got to be willing to make a choice within yourself to like, look, let me work, let me acquire some money so that I can invest potentially into a home studio. And I'm going to give you a gem right here. So there's a YouTube channel called Recording Revolution. I'm going to link it below in the bio. All right. This is somebody who literally shows you how you can get a home studio within the means of $350 of spending. You know what I mean? So there are little catches to it and stuff like that. But this will literally give you a basis and a foundation of how you can start building a home studio at $350 as far as the studio equipment. So if you're interested in checking that out, please be sure to check the link in the bio. Recording Revolution. I believe he is a worship leader, and he just has a lot of musical experience. I mean, the video has 3.6 million views, and I know a lot of people who have used let me see this right here. So everyone knows about the Focusrite, the Scarlett Focusrite. This a lot of people know about this, and I think that Recording Revolution, their channel, is somebody who just shared it to so many musicians that everybody kind of started utilizing that advice. Like I said, it has 3.6 million views. It was something that a lot of people were tuning into, especially in the time of the video was originally made. So just check it out. And I hope that this ultimately helped you guys out. And as always, stay creative. Keep grinding, keep going forward. Don't give up on your passions, your dreams. These things will haunt you. So just keep going forward, man. You know what I mean? And do it well. Be responsible with it. Steward it well. And yeah, let's just keep going. Let's keep grinding. Let's keep staying creative. And y'all be easy, be blessed. Peace.